Yo, this is Bryce from WP Wealthy Pimps here from South Beach, and what I wanted to talk about today is gaming like you never game. What I mean by that is really putting those nights where you go really hard, where you have no choice. You're gonna pull or you're gonna stay as long as possible. I remember on Derek's bootcamp back in the days, I met a good friend, shout out to you, Valerian. We call it Home Swiss Boy. And he actually helped me finding Derek because he was on bootcamp with him, and he told me like how amazing what he was learning in game and all the success. I was extremely inspired by him originally, and we were in Vegas. And long story short, I remember when they were in Miami actually with his wingman from Germany, they would go pimp every day while they were here, girls. And the consequences of not pulling for them was actually running, I think like 2-3 hours on the beach. And that's to me that was also very inspiring. Like having guys who just like are so serious about it and they can't allow themselves to not even pull. I think it's great. Like I said, we're gonna have the boot camp in a little bit, like a few hours from now. They're gonna come and we're gonna hear the same thing. They all want the same thing essentially. What's the value for a guy? Well, being with a pretty girl, hopefully smart as well. But what they tend to forget is a lot of other guys are also doing the same thing. Guess what? We're gonna be in Miami. It's gonna be a very tough selection, very tough competition. But I think what's gonna differentiate like the guy who's gonna go home with a girl and the guy who's not gonna go home with one is how persistent, how resilient. So when I heard about that you could actually getting some challenge like that, challenging yourself to absolutely pulling no matter what, it inspired me. Me and my friend Pepito from Mexico would do challenge like that, and one time he challenged me and I challenged him. Like if we would not pull, I think for him it was the consequences of burning $100, I think, which was very like stupid. But he would do that in front of me every time he would not pull. So I remember like those bills, by the way, they don't burn very well for some reason. It's very hard like to burn a bill. Not sure like, or maybe that was like where he was, humidity. But for me, what it was very drastic. I was mentioning about my hip in the last video, how painful it was. So during this time, he asked me actually every time I would not pull in gas lamp, right after the night around like 2 a.m. or something, I would have to run. And I would have to run all the way. I don't know if you guys picture a little bit gas lamp, but it's a little bit of a hill. And I would go to Hillcrest running. And it was about like a 30 minutes like run, but it was so painful for me that first off running was a challenge, but if I would not make it on a certain time, I think he calculated, very nerdy calculation, he would tell me that I could come back by Uber, but if not I would have to walk back, the long walk of shame. And what was also funny is like that long run was actually all the way to a gay bar. So that's what I've been doing for month and month. Every Saturday, Friday, I would have to run, and I hate it. I just hate it because I was in pain. So that lesson alone taught me something, and I'm sure you can like probably find something like similar to you that helps you like in this area. Because if there is no consequences, guess what's gonna happen? Nothing. Exactly. Like for our client right now, they come in, they're gonna get like, they're gonna be on boot camp, yay, excited. And then what? What's gonna happen next Monday, Tuesday, next week? They're gonna lose that momentum, and we all had that. So you wanna find ways that you put all your chance on your side. And Tony Robbins talks a little bit about that, you know, pain and pleasure. You can either like having the consequences of a reward, let's say, maybe it's a nice little treat that you give yourself if you pull. Maybe it's like a little drink. For me, I usually get a little glass of champagne. That's my treat when I'm pulling. Well, I don't drink, by the way, but I do get a glass of champagne when I pull a girl, like a pretty girl. So it's always almost more excited for the glass of champagne than the girl, to be honest. But yeah, I think you can be creative and finding a lot of creative way to get your goal done, because what is more important than your goal? I don't know anything. To me, my goals are extremely important, and I've been thinking a lot about it, and there's no option here. Because if you leave things as an option in life, you're gonna be like this, a leaf in the wind. You win this or you flew, but you're gonna be like a leaf in the wind, not knowing what you want, not being decisive. When you see a pretty girl, you're not pulling the trigger immediately. You don't have like this instinct that tells you now. And you're gonna have like all your life like passing by like that, all those opportunities that you could have, should have. But man, when we teach, when we train together on the weekend, guys can see like how fast the pool, how fast those windows open and close, and realizing this in life, because there is no video that can show you that. There's no tips and bits how you can learn that if you don't pull tonight, you're gonna be running a mile on the beach or running all the way to Hillcrest to a gay bar. There's nothing that teaching you that. I'm not saying that you have to do that, but I'm just telling you that in some case, you have to do that. You absolutely have to push yourself and push your own psychology, because at the end of the day, that's what I was saying to some of our students on bootcamp. We're in New York, and we have a lot of smart people around us, a lot of like software engineer. They were all like kind of saying the same thing, this and this happened.